Light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation, also known as lasers, can be used in many different applications. These can span from low-intensity uses such as barcode scanners,
Unexpected item in bagging area,
to laser leveling systems, and even welding tools. It suffices to say that we use lasers far more commonly than we think. From their invention in 1960, lasers have still been using similar methods to produce light. A laser cannot work without the use of stimulated emission. But what is stimulated emission, you might ask? Well, grab Grandad's shrinking cap because we're going down to the atomic level. Without going into the nitty-gritty of chemistry, we should know that electrons have fixed orbitals that are a specific energy level from the nucleus. Due to thermal equilibrium, the lower energy levels are much more densely populated with electrons compared to the higher ones. Under natural conditions, electrons normally tend to stay in their energy levels. However, if the electrons are given just the right amount of energy, they'll become excited and be able to jump to a higher energy level. We can excite the electrons by feeding energy into the amplifying medium of the laser. This is what's known as pumping.
So, 700 boxes. That's a lot of chocolates. No.
But because the energy levels are quantized, we need to pump the exact amount of energy into the electrons in order for them to jump up to the next energy level.
Keep your wretched chocolates. 1,800 boxes. Oh, deal.
Hello, editor's note. Everything from the last minute was completely jumbled up because the software I made this with sucks. So I hope you enjoyed the fixes I made. After the light has been absorbed, we can wait for it to be re-emitted again through spontaneous emission. However, as the name suggests, it is completely random when the light is emitted, and the direction at which it's emitted is completely random also.
There's no earthly way of knowing
He's singing.
which direction we are going.
This is the complete opposite of what we want when we're looking for a precise beam of photons. This is why we use stimulated emission instead. If a photon interacts with an electron that has already been excited by the same frequency, the electron will emit a photon that is coherent to the incident photon.
Wow, we're identical.
It's also possible for a photon to be reabsorbed by an electron that isn't excited. To prevent this from happening, we need to oppose thermal equilibrium and gain a population inversion. This means there are more photons that are excited than there are in their ground state. We can pump the specific frequency into the electrons to gain a population inversion at any energy level we want. However, it's not effective to create a population inversion that's just one energy level above, as the photons still end up being absorbed by the non-excited electrons. This is why we use energy levels that are 3 to 4 energy levels above the ground state. Using a 4-level system is beneficial as the photons being amplified have no effect on the 4th energy level. Because the 4th energy level has such a short lifetime, electrons will jump down into the metastable 3rd energy level.
I'm telling you, man, every third
Energy level,
slower.
where the electrons can then be affected by the amplifying photons and create stimulated emission. After stimulated emission, the electrons are jumped down to the 2nd energy level, which has a much shorter lifetime than the 3rd. So the electron then drops down to the 1st energy level, which is the ground state. Shortly after, it is then pumped back up to the 4th energy level to repeat the cycle. All of this occurs within the core of the laser. The stimulated emission creates a chain reaction similar to what's seen in nuclear fission. There is a mirror on either end of the core to allow photons to be reflected back and forth to create a standing wave. However, one of the mirrors lets some of the light past.
Hold on, everybody. Here it comes.
This is what we see as the laser beam. This is the process of a conventional laser that uses a crystal as the amplifying medium, but we can also create a laser using a different type of material, semiconductors. Semiconductor lasers are used for low-intensity uses like scanning CDs, barcodes, and printer scanners. Semiconductor lasers are essentially modified diodes, so they can emit coherent light and can be much smaller and cheaper to produce. but they aren't as powerful as conventional lasers. Semiconductor lasers work very similarly to conventional lasers, but instead of electrons jumping between energy levels, the electrons will jump between a small medium between two semiconductors. When a potential difference is applied across these two semiconductors, electrons within the p-type semiconductor will drop down to the n-type semiconductor. This drop creates a photon that we see as the laser. Semiconductor lasers are most commonly used because of their high energy efficiency, compared to conventional lasers where less than 1% of the energy pumped into it gets emitted as light. To recap, a typical laser is made using an amplifying medium, a total reflector, a partial reflector, and quantum magic. We pump energy into the core to gain a population inversion, so light can be amplified through stimulated emission. So what technology are we developing in the modern day using laser technology? New developments are being made in laser-assisted in situ keratomylosis?
Situ keratomylosis,
which is a form of vision correction surgery. A much cooler use of lasers is the Dragonfire laser defense energy weapon. Fortunately, this laser hasn't harmed anyone yet, and has only been used on a drone. At only £10 a shot, this makes the laser far cheaper than any other air defense system. But anyway, it seems I'm going to have to wrap this up, so I've hit my goal for video length, so yeah.
The Michael Rosen rap. You may think I'm happy, you may think I'm sad, you may think I'm crazy, you may think I'm mad, but hang on to your seats and listen right here. I'm gonna tell you something that'll burn your ear. A hip hop hap. I'm giving you all the
Physics.
Rap. I was born on the 7th of May. I remember very well that awful day. I was in